Hey guys, it's Maymay, and it's time for another Scripture Art Journal week. And this week we're looking at the verse Psalm 147:4. And this scripture says, He counts the stars and calls them all by name. And that seems like a very simple scripture, but I want to focus on something. I really want you to focus on, that's your scripture, but here's your topic, the sovereignty of God. Last night in our Bible study, a lot of people were asking what the sovereignty of God meant. And I think that would be a great place for you to spend some time this week looking at the definition of the sovereignty and then where you can see His sovereignty in your life and in your everyday. I think that would be cool if you looked at every day of the week, different ways or different ideas behind how you know that God is sovereign. And this verse reminds us of that because He knows the stars and calls them by name, and He knows how many there are. He knows the number of hairs on your head. He knows everything about you because He's sovereign, and so much more than that. That's a very broad topic, and it should give you a lot of places to go this week to look into the sovereignty of God. It was interesting because it can be a confusing thing to define, and so I encourage you to actually Google the word sovereignty and then do some research and see what you can discover about that and learn what God is in your life and in the life of the Christian altogether as a sovereign God. So that's pretty interesting. So here's what we're going to do. I thought I would play with the whole stars thing because I think that's really cool. And what I do, like some people have asked me how I come up with the ideas for filming. And one thing that I do is when the scripture is given to me, that's the first thing I get is the scripture. And then I just start looking through my stash to see how I can make the scripture kind of come to life on the page. So I'm going to use the new star dies that we have by Brutus Monroe, which I think are going to be perfect for this. And I'm going to try something different. So here I have my A plate, a magnetic plate, and my B plate for my Cuttlebug. I'm going to lay this down with a piece of yellow paper on top. And then I've taken all the stars from the Brutus Monroe star set, and I'm going to lay them on top of each other just like this. I'm not really going for perfection. I just want to get them laid on here. I'm trying to cut out some really thin stars. I think this will look cool to have a bunch of thin little star outlines. So I'm going to lay all of these down. And this is every one from the set that I'm using. Just like that. And that magnet's catching them for me, which is perfect. Let me scoot them a little bit. Then this one. And then this one. I only have one more after this. This little tiny one. Just like so. Then I'm going to take my little pokey tool and just kind of move them. Just so I'll be sure I'll get plenty of star shape. You'll know what I mean when you start doing this. You'll see where some of them are touching too much. And you just need to adjust them a little bit. That should be fine. I'm going to add my C plate on top. Boy, having that magnet plate is really nice because I just totally moved all of that just then and it would have flown off. All right, now we're going to run this through the machine. So here's all our stars. They're not perfect. I had some of them too close to each other. So some are skinnier and some are thicker, but I still think it's going to work. So I'm going to take a piece of white cardstock because you know I always build my pages outside of my book and then glue them in. And so this page I'm going to cut down in half at 5.5, which is what fits into the journal perfectly. 8.5 by 5.5, so I can use this one for next time. And I'm going to stick these stars all over this page wherever, just kind of fun and willy-nilly. So I'm going to take one of these guys and I just want to fill the page up. So now I'm going to take the stars and just some glue and I'm going to put it on them. And this is tough because they're skinny, so I just want a little bit of glue just right around these edges. And I'm going to glue these down on the page wherever they kind of want to go. Just fill up this page with the stars. So there's one big one. I'm going to just continue. And I might even overlap them. I might not. I'm not sure. I'm just going to play. Then this one's just going to have a little bit of that star on there because I ran out of room. And I'm going to cut away all the ones that are hanging off. I'm just going to use my blade here and just cut. So there is all our stars covering our page. Isn't that cool? I like how that looks. Now in this big one, I'm going to write my scripture. I like the way this page turned out. Now, you could add glitter to the stars if you wanted to do that. I'm not going to because I want to go ahead and put this in my journal. So I am going to put some glue on the back and glue this into the journal, and I'm going to call this one done. I love how those stars came out, and I love the simplicity of the page. I'm finding lately I like more simple pages. I like the idea of completing the page, having it done in the book, because that's, my goal is to do one every week. But I like the simplicity and I like how that pops. I think that is really cool. And now it might even be cool if you wanted to take a pen and maybe do stitch lines around all the stars, but I'm not going to. In person, I can see the stitch line from the die cuts, but I love how that turned out. I hope you guys like this one too. And I hope you enjoy reading about the sovereignty of God. It's very interesting to take that word and break it down and start to really understand what it means in your life and in the life of all believers. So thanks so much for joining us again this week. If this is your first time at Hide His Word in My Heart videos, check us out on Facebook. The group is called Hide His Word in My Heart. Become a member of the group and get involved with us. We would love to have you there. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye.